have to do. It becomes quite difficult to go through all these things after spending time reading and reading, and now you have to go through the headache of referencing one by one and putting all the styles and all that. So the good thing is that there are so many apps that are available. I actually listed just a few here, but there are a lot of apps and softwares that you can use, and they are called referencing management softwares. But the problem here is that how can you choose a particular software? So your choice will definitely depend on so many things. And well, there are so many surveys online. Most of the choices are between Mendeley, EndNote, and Zotero. But depending on what you want, and I listed quite a few here, which are the prominent ones that people use, depending on your budget. So when people choose EndNote or any other software, depending on the budget. For Mendeley, as an example, it's for free, but it has limitations and it comes with conditions. When you have a lot of storage, if you need more than, I think, 2 gig or 5 gig, I think that you need to buy it on a monthly basis. Other softwares like EndNote, some of them come as a one-time payment, and with that, you just pay and then you have it throughout for the lifetime. They also have packages for students. So depending on what you want, you can choose open source, customizing, collaboration. Some people want to use Zotero because it actually has an additional feature that if you're having collaborations with people maybe outside the country or outside your school, and you're using Google Documents, this app actually has an add-on or a feature that can help you use your reference software on the Google document. So I think that is a plus, but I think the rest of the apps do not have them, so that's a limitation to the other apps. But generally, as a student who wants to consider all-in-one software, open source, customizing, collaboration, and your budget, I honestly recommend that Mendeley should be the software that we should all use, based on the few things that I've mentioned right now. And that's the reason why we chose this to discuss it today. And I hope that even if you're using another software and you want to stick with it, it might open you to certain things that you want to consider as you're using the other softwares. But I think I have to put it out there that most of these softwares have a lot of things in common. And so if you get to know the details of one software, you just have to find how it applies in the other software, and it will make things easy for you. And you don't have to stress yourself doing things manually anymore. So we get into Mendeley, and Mendeley is actually created by Elsevier, and it's actually a free web and desktop reference manager application. And when we say web and free web, we're going to discuss it later because it actually has a feature that can be used on any type of browser that you're using, Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, Microsoft Edge. It has a feature that you can use on it, and it also has an online cloud that you can use, as well as a desktop reference manager application that you can also use. Now, I think we have already been talking about referencing and citation, but Mendeley goes the extra mile to help you to organize and store all your files in one library. It also helps you to insert your references and bibliographies into your Word file. It can also help with other writing applications that other people use. People have other ones apart from Microsoft Word that they use. So you can transport or you can export all the documents there, and if that helps. It also helps you to read, highlight, and put notes and do other stuff with your PDF files, since it keeps all of them in one mode. It also helps you to collaborate. So let's say we can call it a Facebook for researchers. So you can use Mendeley platform to actually reach other researchers in your field who are in other countries, other research teams. You can collaborate with them, meet them, chat with them, and do all that depending on the area that you're studying. So with this workshop, I will actually be using Mendeley version 1.9194. So if the interface looks different, it might be maybe because you're using an Apple or you're using a different version, which is different from Windows. So we'll go straight into the outline for the practical section. Okay, so the practical session will be divided into three. We have the startup, we're going to explore the software and the library, and then we'll talk about other useful functions that are available. Okay, so with the startup, we'll be talking about how to download, just the basic things about the initials, how to download the software, install, and how to sign up and get an account and get a desktop library and the plugins that you need to start with, because sometimes we just download it and we are confused. Where is it on the Word? We cannot find it. So just some few things that will help us to get through that stage. Secondly, we'll go into the next one, which will be exploring the window. So we'll be talking more about what are the meanings of the tabs, what are the functions of these, how do we import, how do we add files, how do we read and highlight, add some important things, how do we check for duplications in case you have so many files of the same document, the same paper, let's say. And then we'll get into the main aspect, that is citation, different ways of doing it, how to change the styles, and how to go about all those things. And then I've outlined some few important functions of the app or the software that we have to take note of. So we'll go through that also one by one. Apparently I have about an hour, and I think that we can go through that quickly. So I'll just advise that if you have your laptop, if you are new to this and you have your laptop right now, maybe you can just open it and we can just go step by step through it. So I'm just gonna be swapping through my screens, and then we can go through it. So first, we're gonna go to the first session where we're gonna talk about downloading the file. Okay, so can we all see my screen now? Maybe you can just put a thumbs up in the chat so that I know that. Okay, perfect. All right, so in the first place, if you go to Mendeley, you just type download Mendeley, and it just comes through Google. You just type download Mendeley, and it goes straight to the website. So depending on the software or the Windows or the operating system that you're using, you can choose whether it's Linux, Mac, or you're using Windows. You just download it and then you just follow the steps to install it. I think the installation is quite easy. And after, what you might need to do is to sign up and get an account. So just like any other software or any other website that you need to get an account, you can just quickly follow the instructions to get an account. Also, you can actually download it from the Play Store or from the App Store and get one on your phone. You can get one on your tab and also on your desktop as well. So whatever you do on your phone, whatever you do on your tablet can all synchronize in one library, also on your desktop. And so that makes it quite easy to use. So after creating an account, you are supposed to have something like this, where you have the online account here. And on your online account, you should have your feed, your library here, and your library is probably definitely going to be the same as your desktop library. Yeah, so you have all your files in here. So whatever you're doing in the desktop browser is going to appear here in the same way. We're going to go details into that. I just want to go step by step so that we can get it clearly. So after sign up, now you have it in here. The desktop browser is also going to ask you to sign in to Mendeley. So your desktop browser should look like this. When you sign in, your name should be at this side, showing that this is your account. And we are now going to go slowly into the screen, the browser and how it looks like and the functions and all that. So we'll quickly move to the second part. So in your browser, in your desktop Mendeley, if we look at the left-hand side, we have File, Edit, Tools, View, Help. So all of these functions are, this one you can add files, you can do it manually, import, you have synchronized library, you can delete files. In the edit, you can undo, copy, paste, create groups, create folders. In the view, there's a very important part where you can see different styles of citations. You can show what you want to show on your screen, determine what to show on the screen. Tools, there's also another important part that you have to do at the beginning. Here you can invite colleagues to a group. Here you can install important plugins, and also here you can install the MS Word plugin. Here you can check for duplicates and other options that are vital. We have the help function. Here you can check for updates and terms. These are the legal stuff. You can back up in the cloud, and you can have different ones that you can always restore when you have a new machine or a new computer. Okay, so mainly the ones that are here are the same as the ones that are in here in the tabs. On the left-hand side, you also have your organization. You have your folders and certain tabs that are very vital for you. The recently added documents, the recently read documents, all documents, some of the folders that you have created, and the groups that you belong to. And here are some important things to help you when you are trying to look for a particular document that you have added. We'll go details. And this is the main screen where you have all your apps, all your PDFs and your documents that you have uploaded. And here are details of the particular file. So you see when you change each of them, you have the details over here. So as you can see, I think that Mendeley can contain a lot of files or documents. And as you can see now, I have over 1,000 documents in my library. And if I change to another laptop or a computer, all I need is internet, and it will just download all the PDFs that I have, and I can have all that in the new document. But I want to point out that once where you have logged in and you have your account, let's assume that this whole space is empty. The first thing you might want to do so that it can help you to download files or add files is to go to Tools and install the web importer. And also to install, because I've already installed it, it says uninstall. But if you haven't, it will show that install MS Word plugin. So first, let's do the install web importer. And if you install the web importer, it should show like this. I'm just going to swap in. Okay. All right. So if you have the web install importer, it should show here like this, just like any other. I'm using Google Chrome. So this is how it shows in Google Chrome. So if you have the web importer, this is what the web importer does. It helps you so that even when you are browsing and you don't necessarily want to download the PDF, you can use the web importer to get access to your library. All you need to do is to download, click here, and the details come. We're going to talk about that later, and you'll be able to choose which document you want to choose, edit the details, and just add it to the particular library that you want. Yep. All right, so let's go back to the desktop manager. All right, so now we want to move into adding and importing files. So definitely the reason why you wanted this whole application is to be able to add files, read files, and be able to do your citations. So first of all, we can do this adding of files manually or by doing it automatically. But most of the time, I would just advise that anything apart from journal articles, I think it's better that we input them manually after, you can just drag and put it in, or you can add it manually over here, like add file. You can do it here by adding file, and you just browse through your computer to find where the file is and you add it. Or you can just go add and go add manually. And here you can choose, Mendeley has given us opportunity to choose what kind of document we are going to add. So you can add a book, a section, a case, a computer program, an interview, a blog. There are so many aspects of it, a patent, anything that you want to add. So you choose it. When you choose it, the criteria down here is going to change. So just make sure that you input all these things one by one. But the good thing about journal papers is that most of the time journal papers have certain features like the DOI, which you can use to easily get all the information, even if you don't have the file itself. All you need to do is to put that document in here. You just drag and put the document in there, and then you can have it synchronizing to give you all the details. So let's assume that you are adding the document manually. Let's say it's a book, a section of a book. So you click that and you choose, you name the address. You just say David, and you click enter. So normally you put in the first name and put a comma, and then there's the person's surname. Otherwise, the software will do it automatically for you. But if it makes changes or makes anything a mistake, you can just correct it. And after putting in the names, you put in the other details one by one, and after you just click OK, and it's going to add that document to you. Normally you can just, there are some titles here, so you can just group or arrange them according to them, but I normally like to arrange according to the time I put them in. So the last file I uploaded was at 4:59 today, and this is the file. So one thing that I'll just go through, that an example is the journal articles. With the journal articles, I mentioned earlier that because of their DIO, it becomes easy for you to get the information here. I think later I'll just mention, we'll go into details about how to get the information detailed here, because whatever you do here that is a mistake or is not the right information, it will affect the bibliography. Another way that you can also add files to your library is to go to tools. When you go to tools, you go to options, and then on the options, you go to watched file folders, right? So in your watch folders, you want to, you can dedicate a particular folder to anywhere on your laptop, where you call it the watch folder. So anytime you download any document, you can automatically move that document into that particular file. So for me, my file is in my OneDrive, and it's called PhD Hoha University. And in the PhD Hoha University, I have manuscripts and papers. So this particular file, anytime I add any document, this document will automatically move here into my file. So you can just look for any file, any folder on your laptop, and just take it in here and just click OK. Mendeley will automatically upload every file that you put in there. But of course, after putting in all the files, you have to make sure that these details are right. Yeah, so that's also another way. Another way is a simple drag and paste. So you just drag documents from your folder or anywhere it is, and just paste it in the Mendeley, whether it's a PDF or it's any file. You just put it in here, mainly PDFs, I mean. And it will just appear here, and you just have to put the details. So let's say an example is this document. Let's say this document is not it's not an article. So we can see that it's actually a section of a book. So it's chapter 12. And so it's saying by mistake here that it's an article, a general article. So an example like this, you just have to go in and choose a book section. And then because it doesn't have a DIO, or probably it might have, you just use it to find the details. We'll get into later this and see how we can manage. But now, just looking at the difference between a file like this one and this one, you can realize that this file doesn't have details of the topic, the authors, the year it was published, the country who published it, as compared to this one. So definitely if I reference this particular file, it's going to give me the details that I have put here. So you always have to make sure that the details are right for each and every single file that you put in Mendeley. Of course, since you're going to read every file, we assume that whilst you're reading, you'll be able to make sure that spend a second to put the file details and make sure they are right. Another way that you can also find and add files will be to use this this option here, that's literature search, sorry. With literature search, you just have to type in any keyword. So let's say in my study, I'm working on microbial fuel cells. Yeah, so I just key in that in any file or any article that has been published within this area is going to pop up, and I can just, there are a lot, but this is kind of limited because that file has to be, that particular article has to be related to Mendeley, or maybe has been uploaded by someone on Mendeley. So definitely, you definitely have to find it elsewhere, but if you can't find it elsewhere, you can always use Mendeley here. These checks here, the correct sign shows that you already have it in your library. So if you don't have it, you can just click this and just choose Save Reference. But just know that most of these ones do not come with the PDF. So if you need a PDF, you can always find it somewhere else, and you can just easily add the file here, or you can just add the file by going back to the old one that we used here. So first you save, and then when you save it, you can go into your document and add that file to it. So let's use an example as, let's say I want this one, microbial fuel cells, and that was published in 2011. So I save this file, and it says that save to library. So now I go back to my library and I scan, or I arrange it by okay. I arrange it by the time, and it shows that, okay, let's wait. Okay, perfect, there we go. I haven't synchronized in a while. Okay, so definitely it's gonna show that as the last file after the synchronize works. It's gonna show that as the last file that I have worked on, or I just added to my document. And let's go to another way that we can also add it. And I think earlier I talked about the web importer. So I'm just going to go to the web importer again, and we'll just discuss that quickly and move on. So another way that you can add a file. So let's say I go to Google Scholar and I type lookout for a file. And I found out that that document is, let's say I'm looking for these kind of reviews, and you choose a particular file. So let's say I choose this, and I want to add this file to my library. So on a normal day, I'll have to go and look for this PDF, or I'll have to go and look this out somewhere and then go and add it to my library. But simply, you can just click the web importer, and now this is the paper right here, right? So you click on it and it shows you details of the file that we're talking about here. So here, it's already detected that it's a journal article. The title is here. The authors are here. There are so many other details that it has already automatically added them to it. But if they're not correct, you can just spend a second to just add it, add the other details to it. And if there is a PDF involved, I think that the app will also automatically detect it and add it. And so what you have to do here is that we'll talk about deleting folders, but you might have a lot of folders in your library. So you choose which particular folder you want. There might be a lot. So you choose, let's say I choose this particular folder, and I just add that file to my Mendeley, right? So now this file is actually going to appear on my online library on the cloud and not the desktop, because it hasn't been synchronized yet. So this is my my online cloud. So we can see that I just added this, and it's 7:30 37, and it's right here. And I just added it, and it's the same document that I just added, and it's here. So now I just need to go back to my desktop and synchronize it. Yeah. So I remember that I saved it in MDC MFC, right? So I just go to, it's already synchronizing. So it's not active right now. Yeah, so whilst we wait for it to synchronize and show us that we have the file in our library, but without the PDF, we can go to reading. So now definitely I spoke about it earlier that now Mendeley helps you to be able to organize all your files and be able to read them. So now let's say we have a file right here. Yeah, we have a file here and we want to read it. All you need is to just double click. If you have the PDF available, you can definitely open it on Mendeley. You can do all the things that you want to do. You can highlight a page, put in a special color. You can add comments to it. This is really good. You can do anything that you want to do. And the good thing is you don't have to save this after you are done. You can just close it. And anytime you want the same document, you can find that same thing that you already did. I'll just go the extra mile to talk about tags. This is one important aspect of reading, and it helps you to find documents, because now looking at my library, I have over 1,000 documents in there, and it's sometimes very difficult to remember the titles or maybe the author or something. So what you can do is you can give them, interesting tags. So this particular article is talking about something significant that I needed. So I tagged it as multiple electrodes. So if you tag, you can add other names. Good job. Yeah, you can add another name, anything that interests you. And the good thing is when you go back to your desktop or your library, you can put in these tags and see here we have good job. If I click on good job, just that particular article that I was reading right now pops up. And when you open, it still has the documents and the highlights and the comments that I made, everything in there. So you can do this to any other documents that you want. And anytime you're looking for this particular document, or you can actually add another document. Let's say I just go to all, find this also another document, and I add it and I give it a tag, good job. Yeah, it already pops up and I give it here. So when I close these two files, I can always go back and click on good job. And now I have two good jobs, this one and this one. So now you can use tag to actually help you to find all your apps and all your files, that are interested to you in certain interesting portions. All right, so let's go back and see if our file is here from the imported document. Okay, it's still synchronizing. So we can look at it later. So let's go to citation. So let's say we have a write-up. Okay, so we have a write-up. Can we see this? Just give me a thumbs up if you can still see and you can hear me audibly. Perfect. All right. So let's say we have two sentences. We will definitely to know more about Mendeley. So I'm writing an article right now, and I have these sentences, and I want to add some citations. So let's say I'm done with this, and this is my introduction. And I highlight my introduction, give it an, and then now I have my conclusion. Yes, we did. And now I have my references. So on a normal day, I will just put in my, on a normal day, I'm gonna put in the references one by one. So let's say this, someone like Henry said this, and he said it in 2014, 15, and this one also, let's say the same Henry said it in another year, right? And now I have to go through the stress of putting the bibliography and all that there. But so this is where Mendeley comes in. So I think earlier we mentioned that you have to install the MS plugin, the MS Word plugin. So you go through your tabs, and if you have installed it rightly, it should be here, right here in your referencing tab. But unfortunately, some people might have other apps that might already be there, like EndNote and maybe other referencing managers. And because of that, sometimes it conflicts. So we'll just go quickly through how you can do that if you're having that kind of confliction sometimes. So simply, you can just make sure you save your work, and you go to File and go to Options. When you go to Options, you go to Plugins, and then, okay, let me slow down and go over it again. You go to Files, you go to Options, and you go to Add-ons. And add-ons, here you can see a lot of add-ons that I have, OneNote, blah, blah, blah. But you can just simply go to Word add-ons and click Go. So if you don't have your Mendeley showing, you just have to check Mendeley. Maybe if you don't have it showing here, you just have to check it here. And then just click, okay. It will definitely pop up here.
Add on again?
Yeah. Hello?
Can you go again, the add-on?
Okay, sure. So I was saying that if you don't have Mendeley showing in here after you have done this, let me just go over that quickly. Okay, so we mentioned earlier that sometimes most of the time when you finish installing, you have to go to Tools and you have to go to MS Word plugin. So if you have done this, when you click on this, just make sure that all your Word files are closed. So when you finish closing all the files and you click this, it's going to install the MS Word plugin. So after you have plugged in, you just go to your Word file. You go to your Word file, and it should appear in your referencing right here, just next to the original Words reference. It should be right here. But if it's not showing, you should just go to File. Just make sure that you've already installed it. And I'm using 2016 Word, or I think this is 19. Yeah. And so I think maybe the interface might be different, but you go to File, go to Options. And when you go to Options, what is showing automatically is General. And you can go down to Add-ins. You just click on Add-ins. And here in the manager, there are so many options. You can choose one of them. And the one to choose is Word Add-ins. So you click on Word Add-ins and go to Go. So it will bring you to this small window. And if definitely it's not showing here, it won't be checked. You see Mendeley and the version that is there with this extension, DOTM. You click on this and just click OK. Definitely Mendeley should appear in here so that you can do all kinds of citations that you need, because you definitely need this in your MS Word before it works. All right. So now we want to do the citations. First, we're just going to clean this because it's too stressful doing this. So we're going to go through a number of ways where we can try to do citations. So first, what you have to do is to just click Insert Citation. And there are so many different ways of doing it. I think we can go through about 3 of them. One is to just type, when you click on it, this thing shows right here, and you can just type the name of the author. If you remember the name of the author, or if you remember the title of the book, or the year in which it was published, it will help. But normally the year in which it was written does not help too much because a lot of papers are published in a year. And so the author might not also help. So if you can combine one or two, that will help. So let's say we have, I'll just use one of my papers, David ABC. All right, so there are a couple here. So you can just choose one here, and you just click OK. So due to the references style that I'm using, it says 1. It's going to use the 1, 2, 3 because I'm using that by Journal of Desalination. So here too, let's say we want to use another paper. So we go to insect, and the same way that it appeared, we type another name, let's say my professor. My professor's paper, so we can choose, let's say, one like this, and maybe we want to add another one to it. You can just also add another one. Hello?
What's it showing on the screen apart from
I can't really hear you well.
It's not showing here. I think you searched something, it's not showing.
Excuse me,
Oh.
please. We will not. Sorry, we will not want people to be disturbing the presenter. Let him do the presentation, and you can ask your questions later. Thank you very much. Please let him concentrate.
Right, thank you. I think I'm very sorry about it, but I think Mendeley automatically opens another window. So I think that's why the small window is not showing. But I'll just take a picture and post it in the chat. Maybe we can see what I'm talking about. But normally when you just click on the insect, it just gives you a very small window that you can just type the name of the author. So what is here is that it shows a very open tab where you can just type. Yeah, I'll just take a screenshot and put it on the group. I don't think I can show this part of the screen. I'm sorry about that. The chats. Okay. Oops, I cannot add pictures either. Okay, that's okay. All right, so we'll go to the other way that you can insert. I think this is going to be difficult because I'm sharing my screen. Maybe if I go to Mendeley, it might not show that too. All right, but let me just give it a try. Another way to add another citation is, let's say, you just go in, when you click on insert, it opens that window, and on that window, it shows you another thing that you can go to Mendeley straight. So it opens Mendeley for you. Can you see this part?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. All right, so as you can see this, now you can just either search what you're looking for, or you can just scroll through and look for that paper that you're looking for. So let's say I'm looking for this paper. I can just click on it, and what you have to do is just go here and click cite, and it goes in there and adds it to it. But what about if I want to add a couple of citations, right? So now let's say I have another sentence. I forgot another sentence, and I'm going to add that sentence. Perfect. All right, so I can go to insert, and that window that opens that unfortunately you cannot see, you can type a couple of them. Let's say you type one paper, find it in there. As soon as you click on that paper, it gives you space to type another thing if you want, and you can type, let's say, another thing and another paper, let's say. Okay, and then I can add all of that. So now I just added 3 of these, right? So we can see that because I added 3 papers, now it's showing like this. Another way that we can do it on Mendeley is to click insert, go to Mendeley, and now I'm sure we can see the screen rather, right? So you just click Control and click on this, click on another, highlights this, highlight this, highlights this, and you can click on all of them, and they are all going to show here. Oh, I posted at the wrong place. Okay, let me just do it again. All right. Okay, so let's say I have another sentence here, right? And I want to insert a couple of them, right? So I just go in here and I go to Mendeley and I click on all these ones. Okay, let me start again. So you click on this and press Control and click on a couple of papers that you want to insert in here, right? And then you go to Cite. You don't have to go through the headache of, if you want to change it. So let's say you made a mistake and here is supposed to be maybe number 4 referencing, and you made a mistake. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think admin, maybe you can check it because I keep getting muted. So can you please check that for me? Thanks.
Okay. Please.
All right, thanks. All right, so let's say you made a mistake with the citation and you just want to change it. You don't have to do it all over again. All you have to do is just make sure that you don't edit this. Just don't edit the citation because it keeps making, if you do any manual changes, it bothers the coding and other things behind it. So you can just change the citation in here and you just refresh. That is the importance of the refresh. It's just any changes that you make, just refresh it. It's going to change the numbers in there. And so once you have finished this, let's just insert the references and or the bibliography. So here you just go to insert and all the references that we made, it's going to put all the citations, the references to all the citations in here. And this is based on a particular style that we wanted, so we can see all of them in here. Now I can just reduce the font a little bit. Yeah, perfect. So we have all the references in there. So let's say we made a mistake and here we have 2 to 9 and we want to change it number 4 and change it to something else. It doesn't matter what kind of citation style that you're using. All you need to do is to click on this, and as soon as you click on it, the insert changes to edit citation. So you click on this one, and then the window that you cannot see will appear, and you can delete right from the comma or the colon of both the name and the date. If you delete that, you can just click OK and it's going to appear. So let's say I'm going to remove 2 citations from it. Yeah. And after I just click OK and I click refresh, it's going to change everything and we can have it also have an effect in here. All right. So also, okay, so what about changing styles? Now we have numbers in here. We're getting feedback from someone. So can you please help? All right, so how about changing the style? Here we can see that styles, there are different styles. So, hello, please, we're getting feedback from someone. I think it's very distracting. It's very loud. All right, thank you. Yeah, so and to change the style, we just have to click on this, and there are different styles in here that you can use. For example, you just click on this, and automatically it changes the style depending on this. So sometimes we get this thing that in our group, some people wanted to change this because it was numbers and they wanted to change the style, remove the first name or all that. So these ones, it depends on, you just have to know how the style looks. Normally when it comes to journal submissions, you just have to know the journal's name and you just look for the journal's name But here we have just a few. So since we have a few and you want to add more to change, just know that when you change the style, it affects the citation and it also affects the referencing style. So let's take an example and change another one. And with this, it changes the style again. With this, let's say this, yeah, it changes the style again, and you don't have to go through any manual editing. All the editing, you have to do it on the web, the desktop manager itself. So let's say you don't have the style that you're looking for here. You can just go to more styles and it will open Mendeley. I hope we can see this. Yeah, it will open Mendeley for you, and you can just, oh, sorry, let me just do that again. Okay, more styles. All right, so it opens this window for you, and you can change the style depending on what you want. So now I have installed a couple of styles that I frequently use. And if you can't find that style there, all you have to do is to go to more files, get more files. Mendeley has over 10,000 different styles from different journals and all that. So I think that within our scope as researchers, we can find all the styles that we want. So let's say you're looking for, let's say environmental science. Environmental science letters. Okay, let's use this for example. Let's say I want this. It's not installed, so I just type the name of the journal and I get the name and I just install. After installing, it gives me a notice that it has been installed, right? After that, it doesn't happen automatically, so you just have to go back to installed apps and you look for environmental science and technology, and you just click use style and you click done. And the referencing style will just come here automatically, and now it's showing in here, and automatically it gives you all the styles in here. So I think this makes the work very easy for you, and it also changes this details. There's also another part where sometimes maybe a journal might have. Hello?
Actually, sir, what you did now was not showing on the screen, so we're not actually getting.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go over it again. So let's say you go, you want to change the style and you don't have that particular style listed in here with you. So you just go to styles and then you go to more styles. Then when you go to more styles, it's gonna open a window from Mendeley where you have, I hope you can see that screen.
It's not showing here, but you can, when you're saying it, you can be looking at it here.
Oh, okay. Then let me just show it on Mendeley itself. So when you click on the Word file, it's going to show you in Mendeley like this. All right, I think I'll just go there. You can see this file, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So when you click on Mendeley, it brings you here, right? It brings you right here. It shows like this on Mendeley on your Word file. So you just go to more files, and it's going to open a window like this. Right. So let's say whatever, these are the ones that I've installed that I use normally. So supposing what you're looking for is not showing right here, you can just go to more and click and type the name of that journal you're looking for. So let's say this time we are looking for environmental science and technology letters, and it's not installed. So you have to install it, and it quickly does it, and it says install. But after that, you have to go back to install and activate it. So now we have it in here, environmental science and letters and technology letters. And you click on use this style, use the style, and you click done, right? If you were doing this from Word, it will automatically take you back to Word, but because we're doing this example, we have to go back, right? All right, so back in here, we're going to have environmental science. Okay, let me just do it quickly. All right. So now we have environmental science and letters showing in here, right? So now we just click on it, it's gonna activate, and we can see that the referencing style has changed, and it will also change this as well, right? So just make sure that now we don't do any manual editing here. If you want to do any manual editing, you click on this, it will highlight it, and you click on edit. then you can follow the prompts, the voice, the instructions there to do any sort of editing you want. If you want to add just the year, just anything, it gives you options in that small window that opens. So please don't do any manual editing here, and don't do any manual editing in the bibliography as well. All right, so let's move. My time is fast spent. Let's go to editing the style or adding abbreviations. So we go to so unfortunately for us, sometimes these journals, it doesn't happen oftentimes, but they sometimes change their abbreviations or maybe change their styles. They might add like a point or a full stop, a comma. It doesn't happen very often, but you know that as we typed here when we're searching, like this one, this thing was updated in 2014. So supposing that they have changed it in a while, you might have to do some editing, but it doesn't happen often. It rarely happens. So you really have to do this. But supposing that a journal has changed some of these things, you might want to edit them right here. So it's the same thing that you go to view, go to citation style, go to more, and then you have it right here. You have get more and abbreviations. This thing, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't happen often, but supposing it happens, you might want to edit it right here. So let's say normally in the bibliography or in the references, they put the abbreviation of the journal. So if they might have changed it, you just go in here and manually just edit it. You can add a apply to it and change it in there and just click OK. Supposing that by default, it might show certain details, like let's say the journal might want you to put in the full name of the journal, or maybe add just by default. That's the default is using the abbreviation. If you want to put in the default, the full name, you just click on the full name and you click done, and it will all be done. Sometimes because of these full stops, the periods, maybe you don't want the periods in there, you can just uncheck that here, and you can see all the periods moved out. If you just add them, they just all appear again. All right. So another thing that is also interesting is that sometimes we can see that the bibliography that we insert shows the URL links, and sometimes we might not want that there. Mendeley gives us the option to choose add it or remove it. So now we have an option here, that same place where you have your citation styles, you can always click on this, and you can show that only show URL for web pages and not for all documents. So you have the option to choose it, to add it or not to add it. And here is just main general languages that you want to change, and then that's it. All right, so let's go to some major functions that are there, and maybe there is something that skipped. You can just add it to the questions. Now I have just 15 minutes, so I'll just quickly go through the other important functions that are available on Mendeley. All right, so we see in previously, I showed you a file that was having some of the details not complete. I think I might just have to look for, yeah, example is this, right? So one of the ways where you can always make sure that the details on this side are always complete, because the details you show here will definitely be what will show in your bibliography. It's just like garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't put the full details here, you will definitely not have the full details on your in your bibliography. So let's say with this particular book, it's a book chapter. So I will want to just show that it's a book chapter. So I'll just add the title here. It says title. So I'll just add the title in there. Because of time, I'll just copy this and paste it in there. I hope it works. Okay, perfect. So I can add a title. I can look out for the author. Oh, perfect. It already has a DIO here. So I don't have to stress myself to type all those things. One thing that Mendeley gives me the opportunity to always use these kind of details to find that. So now we can see that right here, we have the DIO here. One way that you can always make sure that a document is complete is to use the DIO to scan, right? So here we can see that the scanning failed. You can always use Mendeley also gives you another opportunity to, I don't think I have a file that is incomplete. You can see that it gives you the file detail is not correct or it's not complete. So you can search by details and it will scan the library to give you that details to fill. Otherwise, you have to do it manually. So let me just give another example of, let's say, this particular file. And yeah, here we are sure that the document is right and it has all the details. So we can always use this to find out all the details are right and it can add it. So it says it looked and everything is fine. Another example is this. You just click search and it will look out and put all the details in there. So always make sure for journal articles, if you have the DIO or the title, you can always use that to scan the document and get all the details of it, which is very important. But as we can see right now, earlier, I didn't have this tool that I was talking about. Earlier, I mentioned about this option, the watch folder. But before this presentation, I added the watch folder. So it had duplicated most of the files that I have. So we can see right here that this is showing that I have a duplicated file, right? So with that, you can always make sure that you remove duplicate files from your library. So one thing you can do is to click on check for duplicates. So here it shows that I have 28 sets of duplicate folders, files. So what I can do is just make sure that it's right. And the confidence, it gives you a confidence. And if it's full, it means that you don't even have to check it. It's right. These ones are not full, so you might want to take a second look to make sure that it's right before you merge. So you just click on this, you just click confirm, merge, merge. The same. And it removes all the duplicates so that when you are referencing, it might not show 2015A, 2015B. It will just show that all the files are the same. So it will merge and make all of them one. So the ones that I'm not confident, I'll just take time later and be sure that they are the right ones and before I merge them. All right. Another way that we can also organize our work is creating folders. So definitely you might be working on a couple of papers that you want to create different folders for them. So it's very simple. You just have to click here and add a folder. So I create a new folder, give it a name, Mendeley. Yeah, and then simple, you just go through the same thing that we did for adding files and you can add files to it. Another way that you, hello? Okay, so another way that you can also organize your files is definitely you might be working with a group of other researchers and so you want to create a group and add them. Simply, you can just create a group by click a group, create a group. And you give the group a name. If you want, you can add some description. There are 3 ways that you can create it. We have a public group where anyone, anywhere can see the group and join by invitation and join if the person wants. Or you can have another group that is public, but it's only by invitation. And you can also have another group that is private and also by invitation. So no one can see the group, no one can see the document as well. So after creating this, it becomes something like this, where like an example, we have the OAAD African Microplastic Review page, where we have all our documents here, and then we have all the members and everything here. Another important thing that I want to point out is that you always have to make sure you use the synchronize button. It's very important because it merges all the things that you have right here on your desktop with the cloud and the library so that you can always have your documents everywhere. So always make sure that anytime you make any changes by the end of the day or by the end of the week, make sure that you always synchronize so that you can have everything at one place. So I have another group like this where with other authors, we can always have our documents in here. Another way that you can also organize your work is by tags. I think we mentioned it earlier that let's say I mentioned about the good work, good job. Yeah, so when you add tags, you can always organize your work and have them in here. So folders are a good way to also organize your work. And another thing that I think I've already mentioned is about the research, literature search. You can always search for different microplastic. You can always search for application and different things here. It's also another function that you can always look out for. But let's say you are new to a particular topic that you're working on, and let's say you have this thing, this particular paper, and you want to look out for papers that are related to this area. So let's say I just choose an area in my field, and right, I choose this. And you want a new paper that is related to this area, you can just click on this paper and click on related. It will automatically look out for papers that are specifically related to this, right? And gives it to you. Right now, we don't have anything that is related to this in the library, so it will not show anything yet. But if there is, it will just show a couple of articles that are related to this based on the topic and I think the abstract. I'm not very sure about that, but I think that's how it works. All right, so this is also another function that you will also like to use often. And one other thing is, let's say I have already started working with EndNote, and now I think that Mendeley might be okay for me because I'm working with a group of people. How do I import these documents? First of all, I don't have EndNote right here on my computer, but if you do, you can just go to EndNote and click on export your files. It's not active here because I'm not doing any export. You go to export your files and make sure that you export them in such a way that it saves them in this kind of it saves them in this yeah, perfect. It saves them with this extension name. So for EndNote, you have to save them in this sort of extension, XML, and with this sort of one, you have to save it with this extension. And when you finish, you just come into import, click on it and show the file. And here it will ask you for where the file is. You just go look out for the file and click OK. It will just bring all the files in here. And now you're ready to start with Mendeley. And also don't forget to make sure that you have plugin installed. Right. So I think I will just we'll just zoom in into the questions. I have done my time, and so that we just stick within the time. So we'll zoom in into the questions, and if there are any questions or something that I forgot to mention, we can just go into that. So if there are any questions, please just let's discuss them. Thank you.
Dr. David, thank you very much for the wonderful.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. So
thank you. You're welcome.
Ask,
yeah.
There's something I want to ask. For example, if you go to your Word document and you click on the references type, for example, APA, American Psychological Association, and then probably piece of where it lists all the authors. What do we do in that kind of way? And that this is not the normal APA we know. No. Normal APA we know is just the first at all.
I'm sorry, can you I cannot hear you very well, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can you repeat yourself, please?
I said, for example, if you go to your Word document, can you hear me?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, you go to your Word document and you change the referencing type to, for example, say American Psychological Association.
Perfect.
Yeah. Now when you try to use it, it lists the name of all the authors.
It lists the name of all the authors.
Oh, yeah. But the normal, we know is the first author as well.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's all the name. So if that's an anomaly, that is where we sometimes we try to edit.
Yeah. Okay. So
the APA will have it updated or what?
Yeah, so what I think that we can do in that sense is that there are two ways that I can talk about now. One is that we can look out for another style that has that same referencing, but gives you just the first author. And that might be difficult to say because you might have to scan through and look out for journals with that, or maybe whilst you're looking through papers, you can see a paper that has this particular style and you can use that style. Otherwise, the other thing that you can do is, it's not too complicated, but I think that we can also try to do that. One thing that Mendeley uses is that I think right here from the tools, from the styles, there was something that I didn't mention earlier, that when you want more styles, right, there is one way that if you don't have the name of the journal here, which is rare to happen, you can actually add a link here to download it, right? But while downloading it, there is this extension that Mendeley use and most of the journals use, and not most of the other referencing managers use, and it's called, it has an extension called CSL. And with this CSL, this is what it does. You can always edit the style right in the browser. So there is a general browser link that they all use. I'll just show it to you and we can, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay, perfect. So I opened this file in here, right? It's right in here. So this, it needs a little bit of maybe editing. So that particular thing that you, let's say American Physiological Association, if you wanted to show less things, you don't have to edit it manually. You just have to come in here and edit it right here. So you go to the layout. It has a lot of options that you can choose. The author microgram here. This, we might need like a little more time to go through this because here it gives you a lot of options in here. I will send a link into the group. Anyone who wants to go into this, you can always look out for it to edit things in the future. Yeah, this is the link right here. So you can always go here, and when you finish, you just copy the the CSL from the link in here, and then you go and put it in the Mendeley, and it will just give you all the details that you want. So if you want to reduce the author name, the author list, and everything, there are other details that you can even change in here. But it's just that this thing, it doesn't happen most of the time, that Mendeley does not have what you're looking for. But if it does, you can also always go in here and change the style and edit it according to how you want it. So what you can do is, if that particular style you're looking for does not give you what you want, maybe it has been updated. So you just type the name in here, let's say environmental science, right? And it's gonna give you the name of the journal, and you choose and you just edit it. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So here it is. So if you want to edit, if you just type in, it has all the document, the journal names in here. So you can just click on it, and let's say this one, let's say you just click on it and edit it. And when you finish, you just copy the link and put it in your Mendeley, and it's gonna work. But I always advise that it's better to look out for another journal style that suits what you're looking for. But definitely, I think that most of the time, if we are doing these kind of changing style, is because we want to submit to a particular journal, right? So definitely, you just have to type the name of the journal right here, and you can find the style that you're looking for. So I think that, I hope that answers you. Otherwise, you can always go to that link to do some editing. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube that you can know exactly what to do if you're confused which side to go. But I wouldn't like to go details into that because it will take a lot of time going into that editing stuff. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mensah, for the good talk. We've indeed learned a lot today. For us to coordinate the question and answer section so that it can be orderly, I would advise that whosoever have a question to raise his hand through the chat forum. Just raise your hand if you have a question to ask. Also, I have seen that some people have sent some question via chat. So what we'll just do is, Dr. David, please, can you go through the chat?
Okay.
And see 3 questions already there. So maybe you can answer the 3 questions. The question from Mubarak, Usman, and also we'll start from there. Then thereafter, whoever have a question, just please raise your hand up and we'll come to you. So please just answer those questions as quickly as possible so that we can attend to so many other questions before the 30 minutes elapse for the question and answer section. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I'll quickly read through and one says that if I have files already on my desktop, Mendeley, how do I synchronize it with my Mendeley platform online, from desktop to online? Okay, yeah, so I mentioned earlier, all is about having the same account. So if you are having files on your desktop, it means that definitely you have an account which is showing right here, right? So all you have to go do is to go online, sign in to Mendeley, and open your accounts like this one, right? And you open your accounts, and when you open your account and log in, you have your library in here, and whatever you have on your desktop will just automatically synchronize here. All the files, the folders you have, we created a new file, right? Right now, we called it Mendeley. So it's synchronizing. It will definitely have to appear in here. And all the groups that you have is going to show in here. And everything that you have should definitely be synchronized and be in here. So that is one way that you would do to have all your files on the cloud as well. Sorry. The next question says that how can I change the font? I think you mean font, right? Font style on the Mendeley desktop makes it look somehow old. It makes it look somehow old school. Okay, well, let's see. I haven't considered that because I honestly haven't considered that. All I know is changing the language, but I haven't considered changing the style of how it looks. So maybe if you have an idea, you can also share it as well. All right. How can you edit citation in the middle? How can you edit citation in the middle of a sentence? According to David et al., 2010, most citations appear like this. According to I don't get this one. How can you edit citation in the middle of a sentence? Example, to David et al. To this. I think this one might be based on the referencing style that you're using. So do you mean that you're changing the referencing style from that to that? Otherwise, just as I put that link in the chat, you can always go to that particular
Please, I make the question. Am I allowed to?
Okay. Sure. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, like, if you want to maybe cite in the middle of a sentence, like according to David et al., so most of the times you need only the year in brackets instead of.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So,
Got it.
How will you do that?
Sorry, I wasn't getting it earlier. All right, so I'm going to my Word file so that I can quickly, okay, perfect. Right. Unfortunately, when I open that window, you cannot see, but what it is that, let's say in the middle of a sentence, if you have this here in between and you want to say according to blah, 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 and put just the year in brackets, you just go to insert and then you add whatever thing that you want to add. And after you can go, can you see the file I'm opening right now? It just opened a small window. Yeah, but unfortunately, if you can't see in there, you can always edit it anyhow that you want it. Yeah, there is a drop down arrow that will show, let's say if I type David, unfortunately you cannot see it, but there is a drop down arrow in that insect. When you click insect, there's a drop down that you can use to check which details that you want. You can choose just to add the date or just choose to add the year or the author name. Just uncheck it, it will just move in. Yeah, I hope that works. Hello?
Yeah, probably because we did not see the drop down. I think that's why we're not getting it right.
Yeah, okay. Let me just go over it again. I'll just explain it, and maybe if you have your computer, you can just try it. So let's say I have this, right? This particular one, and I want to edit it, right? So I have already inserted the bibliography. I can just click on insert, right? And click on the insert. It will open a small window that you can just click on the name, and it's going to show a small box that says page, right? And it has a drop down. If you want to add any other detail, you can add it. But it has another thing that says suppress author, right? So you just click on the suppress author and you just click OK. It's going to show this right here. So you can see now it just changed it to 2000.
Can you share the small window that?
I don't know how to share it because it pops up.
Yeah, it's like sharing again. Then you choose the small window.
Okay, let me just do that again and see. Okay. Unfortunately, when I click on sharing again, the small window leaves.
Oh.
Yeah, but definitely it's very simple. When you just click on any of them, let's say this, you see that this place tends to edit, right? So you click on edit and then you just click on the name and you click on suppress author. It will just go and show you this. But don't do it manually. If you do it manually, it changes. So you see here afterwards, it just keeps this. After I click refresh, it doesn't affect the other details at all. It doesn't affect this at all. It just keeps it just as it is. So
okay, thank you. I tried, I saw it, and it works. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just check if there's another question. Okay, is there any more? Is it possible to have two reference plug in MS Word without having any conflict? Two referencing plugins, yes, that's what I was saying earlier, that it can give you a little bit of issues. But if it doesn't, good for you. But if it does, you can always go to the steps that I mentioned earlier about going to the file, going to options, and then try and get that conflict sorted in the plugins. Thank you very much for this. Like you said, we don't have to do manual editing. So in case, in a situation where you have to cite, can you please explain this? Because I'm sorry, I'm not getting it. Dr. Abdullah, could you please help me? I'm not getting your question, please. Hello, Dr. Abdullah. Can you please explain your question? I'm not getting it. Okay. If not, then maybe Dr. Bright, we can move on, please.
Okay. No other question. Dr. Olayinka, I saw you raising your hand. Can you talk?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I just wanted to make maybe one or two contribution. I think number one is somebody was like asking question if he or she can be able to like change the font style of maybe his or her references, because sometimes the references the output kind of like looking old. Actually, you can do that, but that might be maybe after you must have done, writing maybe your manuscript, or done with your write-up. Then you use the normal, Control A just to select whatever you want to, like change the font style. Then what you change it on the normal, Microsoft Word platform. You cannot do that on Mendeley, because Mendeley is already automated. So you might not be able to change as many things as possible there, but you can do that on your own after you must have been done, writing your manuscript or any of your write-up on your Microsoft Word using maybe the home, then change or the fonting and what the style. That's number one. Then number two, I think like somebody said, okay, what if we have maybe two kind of plugin? Is there going to be any conflict? Of course, there will be plugin, most especially if you're using
Yeah.
EndNote and Mendeley. There is going to be a lot of conflict, because in a situation whereby you were using Mendeley initially, and maybe you now move to another point, and you now want to use EndNote at that point. Now, trying to insert your reference on EndNote, there's going to be a lot of issues. However, like Dr. David had previously said, for you to be able to resolve the conflict, just go to your word adding, like he had already previously, directed us to do. Just go there, then what, choose. Then the only thing you have to do to be able to resolve that conflict is just what, to unclick. Just what, unclick Mendeley. Are you getting me? Unclick Mendeley. Then what, revert back to that your write-up. Are you getting me? Revert back and what, try to what, refresh again. Then EndNote will start what, will become active. Like that of Dr. David only had Mendeley. But if you,
Right here.
yeah, right there. If you have EndNote installed, there is going to be a lot of conflict.
It will be down here.
The only thing you have to do is what, for EndNote to be active, to be active in performance, you just unclick that of Mendeley, then what, then click OK, then you go back and refresh your work, then what, EndNote will be active. However, if you were previously on EndNote and you want to do something on Mendeley, and you are trying to work on Mendeley, actually Mendeley doesn't really have issues with that, because if both of them are active, Mendeley can be active also, as in for as long as possible. But it's only EndNote that does that conflicting thing, that you have to uncheck Mendeley for EndNote to be active. But if both of them are active, Mendeley can work perfectly fine. So that is just my contribution for now. If I have any other one,
Perfect.
I will add later. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you very much, Dr.
I would just like to add one line. I think that I didn't understand the earlier question that was asked. I thought the person was talking about the desktop manager itself, the desktop manager itself. But I think that we also have to be very careful when we are changing the font style of this. You can also change it on the link that I sent to you. You can also change it there. But sometimes the journals especially want to maintain a certain font. So please read the journals and instructions for others very well before you change any of these styles. And yeah, right, thanks Doc.
Then sorry for
Kwabena has a question. Oh, Dr. Lanka, you're still talking.
Okay, then someone was asking about APA, referencing style, as in what, outlining all the authors. To the best of my knowledge, there's a new format of APA, referencing, and I think I saw the video sometimes ago, maybe shared by any of our platform in China, which I shared with some of my senior academic colleagues back at home. However, I don't know if, I may not be so sure if Mendeley had upgraded to that new style of APA, but there's a new style of APA, like the other senior colleague had asked that, just like just one author, maybe two authors at all. Yeah, APA have changed their fonting style, but I don't think Mendeley have been able to put that into their system. So, like you had rightly said, if you are not okay with the one you're seeing on Mendeley, maybe you choose another one that is very close. Because like for
Perfect.
EndNote has a place where you can edit, whatever you want for your referencing style. EndNote has that, but Mendeley doesn't really have that. So maybe if you are not all that too okay with that of Mendeley, maybe you can try EndNote to give you exactly the desired fonting style
Definitely.
that you wanted. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please, my contribution for now.
Thanks, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I saw Kwabena raising
Yeah,
up.
there's an hand up. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Wisi, for the wonderful delivery. I would like to add some few with Mendeley additions that is being done. There is a new migration to a new, should I say, a new level of Mendeley referencing, which we call the Mendeley Reference Manager.
Okay.
Yeah, so with time, this Mendeley desktop will fade away in no time. I don't want to give timelines, but it will be fading away soon. But you can use the same setup system as in your profile, and your documents will be the same. With the new system, which they call the Mendeley Reference Manager, some of these challenges that people have already enumerated are taken care of. For instance, with the APA that our brother said, that there is a new version of the APA, it has been addressed in the Mendeley Reference Manager app. So even though it's not completely done, there has been some modifications. So for instance, with the interface you are seeing with the Mendeley desktop, some of them is no more with the Mendeley Reference Manager. So maybe we can also explore the new one as well, and see how best we can integrate with our knowledge with the Mendeley desktop and take advantage of, because once this is free, we should take advantage of that and explore that fully. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, for instance, with the interface you are showing, you said that new, can you go back?
Yeah, I'm actually showing
so
the
this,
new
you
one
see
you're
that
talking
we
about.
have the Mendeley reference, you said the new.
Yeah, they have some new
so it is going to take over from Mendeley desktop. But the disadvantage with the new system is that you need to have an MS Office of, I think, 2016 and above. Other than that, you cannot take advantage of the new system. That is the Mendeley Reference Manager. That is the new one that is in now. So don't worry if you are using the Mendeley desktop. You can still use your profile and all your documents are intact. And again, with the new Mendeley Reference Manager, you have to have what we call the Mendeley site, as you can see in the page.
Yeah, right here.
And again, the disadvantage is that if you don't have Office 2016 and above, you cannot take advantage of the new system. So I don't know how. Maybe people have to adjust or do some reinstallation to be able to get in tune with the new system.
Yeah.
And with the Mendeley site, it doesn't work similarly like the desktop with respect to the Insight system in Mendeley desktop.
Yeah.
So there's some slight changes. So maybe when with time people get a new system or a new MS app, like 2016 and above, maybe Dr. Wisi can also do an upgrade of the lecture. Because,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to take, if you go to their website, they will tell you that the Mendeley Reference Manager is going to take over from the desktop. So maybe we can also get ourselves conversant with that new system upgrade and see how best we can take advantage of that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for mentioning this one. And because people are not so conversant with the new one and it just came, so I think that was better we stick with the desktop. But I think that the organizers can do something about it. Maybe later this year we can do something with this reference manager. Thank you so much for mentioning that.
Oh, before you go, let me ask you something.
Dr. David.
Manager, will I have to go back and add it again, or will the other one take care of it?
Hello, you said what?
There are so many people talking, I can't hear.
If I download the new reference manager,
It should be coordinated. Who is talking now? Please, who is talking now?
I said before he goes out, like.
Okay.
Sorry, your name.
Emmanuel.
Okay, Emmanuel.
Yeah. So please, Dr. Kwabna. Okay, Kwabna. Sorry about that. I said if I download the new reference manager, new Mendeley reference manager, do I have to go back of adding it to the add-on?
No, you don't. What you have to do is that you just log in. When you log in, all your files will be downloaded into your system.
Okay. One more thing. I tried it. I have both of them in my system, but anytime I want to type, and I say type reference, it will take me to the desktop manager instead of the new reference manager.
Yeah, that is a challenge. You cannot use, for instance, you started a document with the Mendeley desktop. If you want to use a new one, that is the Mendeley reference manager, the two are not compatible. Okay. So it's either you decide to use one for a particular file or document you are working on, or the other, but you cannot use the two.
Okay. But is it that both of them are when you have both of them in the same system, because this is a new document?
In a new document, you can decide to use only one.
But it doesn't
Can I clarify something, please? Yeah, Emmanuel, do you remember that in the desktop the old one, let's say, we mentioned that when you start, you have to install. Let me go back to it. We mentioned that when you get this desktop and you log in, you have to install this plugin, right? So now this plugin has been replaced by the Mendeley site, right? Has been replaced by the Mendeley site. So when you just get the new software and that's what you want to use, you have to remove the plugin and also get rid of the desktop. But please, before you get rid of the desktop, make sure that your online cloud and your current desktop documents, they tally by clicking on the synchronize, and you can have all your documents in the cloud. So as soon as you download them, the reference manager, and you just synchronize, you just give it some time and you have good internet, all your documents are going to come. And with this Mendeley site, you can now use that to replace the plugins, and you can have that to download. And when you click on this, it will definitely take you to the Mendeley reference manager and not the desktop, right? So if it's just you're sticking to one, either you're going all old or you're going all new. But if you are moving in, just make sure that you synchronize it well and get it. Yeah, I think that there was a survey that was made and a lot of people gave a lot of comments about some of the, loopholes that Mendeley has. And, among most of the reference managers, I think Mendeley is the one that is not that old. It was just published, or it just came out in 2008. So most of the other reference managers are older than it. So definitely there were some new things that they had to upgrade it. This is not to defend the company, but this is what they did with a new one to suit the new things that people want. So if you go all old, you use the old one. If you go all new, you use the new one. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. And thank you, Kwabena.
Thank you very much, Dr. David. Any other question?
My name is Hamza. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Hamza, you can speak.
Okay. I want to just thank Dr. David, and also to mention that there are some things that are called Mendeley fields that the Mendeley created in the Word document. And sometimes if you are uploading your final paper to the journal without removing the Mendeley fields, usually you will get an error, especially if the journal they are using an automated system for going through your file. I think you can shed more light on that so that people will not have that problem.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, so I think that some of the journals will just make it clear to you that when you are in the instructions, you should upload that and do not let them see those things, otherwise it will have an effect. So one of the important things that you can use to check that this journal does not have such problems is when you finish uploading your files to the submission platform, and you download the file they give to you to just look through that everything is okay, you just check your citation portions, fields, and see if everything is okay. If it's not, then what you can do is to export. When you come, I think you can see my screen right now. You go to the Mendeley field in here, the section in here, and you export. So you can export the field without, you can export your paper without Mendeley fields right in here. Right, so you have two options. Either you export it to be compatible with LibreOffice, or you can export it without Mendeley fields. And if you export it without the fields, it's going to show all it's going to give you a new file that you can save, and then you keep that as the file you're going to submit to the journal. Right, it's going to show the new folder, a new document without these fields that are coded and give interruptions with the journal's site. Yeah, so you can easily do that. After you have done all the work and saved, you just export it, and then you save the file that it gives to you. Right. Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. David. I think at this point in time, we are already running out of time. We have 10 minutes more to end this meeting, the webinar. I want to especially thank you, Dr. David Mensah, our instructor today on hands-on on Mendeley. Thank you very much for the good work you have done.
Dr. Bright, I'm sorry, but are we ending? I'll just have one more point to just add it as a take-home message. I'm just quickly go through this in just 2 minutes. Just that's it.
Okay, you're allowed to do so.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I have just a take-home message, and just quickly, I'm just going to mention a few things that I think that will help us. Whilst I was just thinking of preparing my slides, I just wanted to add this last slide to help us to consider some few things as researchers. So I know that we are very busy and we deal with so many things. So I just wanted to add this slide with some few softwares that I think that we can also add to things that can help us. Definitely, we need time and task management apps. So I recommend that we can look into these things that can help us to manage our things. You can keep your work in there. You can have an app on your phone and also on your computer that can synchronize with your tab in anywhere. So you can use OneNote, you can use EndNote, you can use Forest. All these are time management and task management things. So you can see something somewhere, just copy it, paste it in there. You can see it on your phone anytime when you're doing, and sometimes maybe you need a calendar. You can use Google Calendar or Outlook. There are other calendars that you can use, simple apps that you can use to help you to plug in your webinars, your conferences, your deadlines. And one also thing that I said that I've seen that a lot of people do not use, this is Grammarly. Grammarly is a free app, though they have a paid version, but the free app definitely works perfectly for you. It helps you to correct all the English grammar errors that you have in your papers. So once you have finished, just put in the Grammarly, and it can help you to corrects most of the English grammar mistakes that you might have before you send it to the journal, because you can never be 100% about it, but the app can help you to go through them. Definitely, we have also talked about referencing software, so you can choose which one works for you. And also, we realize that sometimes you want to compare your data, your raw data, with some papers that you see, with some graphs that you see in the papers, but you don't see their raw data, you see the graphs and stuff. So there are some apps that you can use to trace and get the raw data out of people's work, and you can get the raw data, you can compare to yours and see where you stand. Definitely, there are also some data analysis softwares that I think that maybe the organization can think about it, and maybe later we can have some webinars on that. And this is very important. We always overlook this, but it's very important. You need a cloud storage. So please, if you don't have a cloud storage today, after this, please try and log into any of these platforms. There's Baidu Cloud, there's OneDrive, there's Dropbox, Google Drive. Try all of them. Some can give you about 15 gig free. Just put all your documents there, apart from your PDFs, the papers and stuff that you're working on. You can lose your hardware at any time. So please do well to try and get any of these clouds and save all your works, that your data and stuff that you're working on. Apart from the your referencing papers and stuff, you can just put all your pictures and data and other things in there. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I will also use this opportunity to introduce to you, my company has my environmental concern blog. So this one we are using is to give people the opportunity, especially people in academia. If you want to write a blog or publish anything that has to do with environment, just send it to us. We have editors who are going to help you to publish it and get your blog out there. And anything that you are interested in with environmental awareness and protection, just feel free to send it to us at mecblog@ecoamitsolution.com, or you can just check our website and just get details of it. And also thank you so much, OAD, for the opportunity. I'm grateful. Thanks.
Very much, Dr. David Mensah. There's a question. So let's just see if we can run through, because Dr. Emmanuel has been seriously re-echoing that question. Please just go to the chat section. Dr. David said, "Hi, kindly help us understand how to make the citations to be a link to a specific reference in reference list by a click only." Can you do that in just some few seconds, Dr. David? Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was muted. I was talking. Yeah, Dr. Emmanuel, can you please explain it in a minute? I don't get it. Kindly help us to understand how to make citation be a link to a specific reference in reference link by a click only. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I passed through some papers in the journal whereby when you are reading the paper, in middle of the sentences, you get when you just click that reference, let's say in reference number 1, when you click that number, it takes you to reference, it takes you to the same number in the reference list. Yeah, when you just click the citation, let's say number 7, it takes you directly to the reference list by a click. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if it's Mendeley or it's another type of citation.
Honestly, I think that normally it's the journals that do that with the papers that have already been done. I don't know if you're talking about something that you have seen in a Word file or something that you're seeing in a published paper.
Yeah, in the published paper.
Yeah, in the published paper, they put in hyperlinks that can link you to the link itself down here. So that's what I can say about that. They use hyperlinks, and when they are doing the final publishing press things, and they put the hyperlink in there. But not all journals do that, and you click it, and it takes you down there into the link. I don't know if anyone has experienced anything like that, but normally they use that in the final press stuff. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Dr. David, for this wonderful lecture you've given to us today. We have indeed learned a lot. Everyone here at this point in time from OAAD, Organization of African Academic Doctors, we are saying a big thank you for everyone who taken time to join this webinar. I don't know if everyone in this webinar is already a member of OAAD, but if you're not, I would encourage you to join. We have several groups to join, and we have several things that is ongoing presently that would boost or lift our continent up. So please do well to participate actively in the OAAD so that together we can make Africa great again.
Hello, so, right? I cannot really hear, but I think there is this feedback.
Someone.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Someone's please just turn on mute so that we can hear.
Yeah, it's okay. Thanks.
Okay, you can hear now. Okay. As I was saying, we should please try to partake in an OAAD activity. There are several groups, several research groups that are ongoing OAAD, of which we find out several research. And also we have the main group of which we discuss several issues, and definitely we can make our issue. Every member in OAAD is important. So we want to especially thank you, Dr. Mensah, and we hope to call you once more in some of these ending tips you gave to us. At least we want to learn some of these softwares and things you have said. Maybe in the next future we'll call on you again, and we hope that when we call on you, you always avail us the opportunity or your time, because you have indeed blessed us today with your wealth of experience on Mendeley. So to cut the long story short, thanks everybody for joining this meeting. In the absence of no other thing, I don't know if there will be any AOB for us to discuss, 1 minute or 2 minutes. Any AOB from the members here? Dr. Elijah, anything to say? Dr. Elijah, anything to say?
I don't have anything to say for now. I would just want Dr. David to please avail us the PPT as soon as possible so that we can share to our members on the group. Also, I just want to notify all of us that the video recording of tonight's webinar will be made available as soon as possible. If not tonight, tomorrow morning you all have it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We should also know we have several platforms. We have LinkedIn platform, Facebook platform.
Okay. We have several platforms. We have the YouTube, we have the Facebook. So, and we also have the Telegram platform. So all those our videos and whatever will be made available on those platforms. So those of our people back at home that cannot be part of this tonight can also avail themselves of this wonderful opportunity on our social platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On my own end, I would say good night to everyone, and or good evening to those who are depending on your time zone. Thank you all for joining. Bye.